After taking two embarrassing losses to the Cardinals and Patriots, respectively, over the last 2 weeks, and now the Steelers' playoff hopes being on life support, today on Steelers Talk, I want to discuss the things that absolutely piss me off about this football team, not only in Week 14 against the New England Patriots, but also just in general. I think it's important to maybe air out some of these grievances, let off a little bit of steam, because right now, Steelers Nation is kind of down in the dumps right now. So before we get into my grievances here, do me a favor. Let me know down there in the comments section and share with the class. What is something that pisses you off about the Pittsburgh Steelers here in 2023? Before we get things going, get down in the comments section and let us know. So the first thing I want to discuss here, the first thing that pisses me off, is that the refs didn't do their fucking job in the fourth quarter of last night's game. Now, this is not the number one reason why the Steelers lost that football game last night, but the Steelers were driving with a chance to tie or take the lead. It's 4th down and 3, and the Steelers attempt to draw the Patriots off sides, and they did it. Steelers offensive line not moving, and clear as day, video evidence. Tavai, the Patriots special teamer, jumps off sides, and it's clear as day. I mean, even the Patriots defenders, the people on the Patriots were yelling at their teammate because they know that he fucked up. And somehow, some way, the Zebras called this a false start on the Steelers. They had to punt it away, less time for Trubisky to work the next time around, and the Steelers ended up losing the football game. But I want to make this clear. The Pittsburgh Steelers should have won this game regardless, and really the main player to blame, in my opinion, outside of the coaching staff here is Mitchell Trubisky. And Mitchell Trubisky's play yesterday, the way that he played in that crucial game, not only for this team, but for his career personally, it pisses me the fuck off, man. I'm not going to lie. It was absolute dog shit. All right? This was one of the worst performances I have ever seen from a Steelers starting quarterback that I've ever seen. And listen, I went into the week saying you had to start Mitchell Trubisky. All right, Mason Rudolph had only taken reps with the scout team before this past week. It was a short week. You weren't going to play Mason, okay? But Mitchell Trubisky had his chance to prove himself, and instead he fell flat on his face. You look at the numbers from last night, 23 of 35, 190 yards passing, 1 touchdown. He did run for a touchdown as well. And then he had an interception. Could have been 3 interceptions, though. There was one that got called back thanks to a pass interference call, and then there was another one that was just straight up dropped by the Patriots defender. His rating was a 74.7. Honestly, that's way too high in my opinion. Whatever that rating system does, whatever that formula is, it has to be wrong because Mitchell Trubisky simply could not move the football through the air last night without throwing it 2 to 3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. He could not complete a pass down the field. They didn't get George Pickens involved down the field. It was mostly screens and short passes and all these different things. And every time Trubisky tried throwing the ball down the field, except for that one exception to Deontay Johnson for the touchdown, it was almost intercepted. So, I mean, watching this offense yesterday with Trubisky at the quarterback position, it was like pulling teeth. It was that painful to watch. And, with the defense giving that offense as much opportunities as they did with short field situations. This is just a straight up a shameful performance from Mitchell Trubisky. This should have been a win, and as he said in his post-game press conference last night, he didn't play good enough to win this football game. Now, because Trubisky did not play well, I do believe that Mason Rudolph needs to start for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in Week 15. I just don't know. Tomlin said in his post-game press conference that he didn't even consider pulling Mitchell Trubisky despite having 3 turnover-worthy throws in just the first half. I just don't know how Tomlin could not even consider it. But at the end of the day, man, at this point, this offense stinks with Trubisky. You got to go with Rudolph, in my opinion, and that's where I'm at. All right, so let me know down there in the comment section which of these quarterbacks should start for the black and gold here in Week 15 versus the Colts to try and save our season. Type MT for Mitchell Trubisky. Type MR for Mason Rudolph, or if you think the newly signed Trace McSorley, Penn State legend, should get a shot. Type TM down there in the comments section. This is also going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Another thing that pisses me off about the Pittsburgh Steelers is that they're wasting turnovers, okay? The Pittsburgh Steelers defense yesterday not only shut out the New England Patriots in the second half, keeping them in the football game. I mean, the Patriots barely even moved the football at all in the final 2 quarters. But they were also able to get 2 major turnovers, one on defense with an interception created by Landon Roberts, and then there was one on a special teams blocked punt by Miles Killebrew. And the Steelers walked away with 8 points instead of 10 points or 11 points, or even 14 points, which is probably what it should have been. Because you had the short field. There was one where you took over at the 15, the other one you took over at the 25. There's no excuse why the Pittsburgh Steelers shouldn't score touchdowns in both of those situations. But even if you don't score a touchdown, even if you don't score a touchdown in both situations, you got to at least score on both of those situations. There's no excuse for walking away with any of those drives with 0 points, and this really was the difference in the football game. It's just straight up shameful at this point, guys. All right, now coming up here, more things that piss me off about the Pittsburgh Steelers. But first, I want to tell you about today's sponsor at PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. If you want to spice up your game days this NFL season, you can get started with PrizePicks right now. It is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game. And if you're looking for a more fun way to spend game days during the NFL season, PrizePicks is going to be perfect for you. It's super easy to play here. All you got to do is choose 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can even win up to 25 times your money on any entry. This weekend, I am going to be taking the more on Brock Purdy passing yards, the more on Travis Kelce touchdowns, and the more on Saquon Barkley touchdowns. If you know ball, you can definitely make some money with PrizePicks today. Check it out now at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. With PrizePicks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks, so get them in right now before they kick things off on Sunday. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. Something else that really pissed me off, you guys can check the tape on the watch party on Thursday, the 4th and 2 call. And no, I'm not talking about the one that ended the game, the terrible deep pass from Mitchell Trubisky to Deontay Johnson that ended the game. I'm talking about the one after the interception. You get down into the red zone, you're in position to score, and you're in position to potentially get within one possession with a Chris Boswell field goal. Now, in this situation, not only does head coach Mike Tomlin decide to go for it, but he decides to put it in the hands of Mitch Trubisky, who had not been an efficient passer all game long. I disagreed with the call at the time, and not converting on that 4th and 2 is unacceptable, because if you go for the field goal in that situation, you add those 3 points to the total for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The game is 21-21, and this game probably goes into overtime. Now, you never know because it completely changes the flow of the game, but you really needed those 3 points, man, and putting it in the hands of Mitch Trubisky. And not only that, but you had George Pickens one-on-one on a fade route in the end zone, and you decide to go make the first read to Pat Freiermuth over the middle, double covered? Fucking joking me? That's just unacceptable play calling. That's an unacceptable call from head coach Mike Tomlin. And if you're going to go for it, you need to get the ball. You need to get the ball to 14, man. There's just no other way around it. All right, another thing that pissed me off from last night: passing on 3rd and 2. The Steelers are driving in the final drive of the game. It's 3rd and 2 with 5 seconds left to the 2-minute warning. Everybody is thinking, even our Patriots host on his watch party was saying, this one's got to be a run. And they end up passing it, and Mitch Trubisky throws it over George Pickens' head on a slant by probably 5 yards. Just absolutely unacceptable. If you're Mike Sullivan, the offensive play caller, you have to call a better play than that. And if you're Mitch Trubisky, you have to give George Pickens a better ball. Plain and simply. And I really think over these last 2 weeks against the Cardinals and the Patriots respectively, Mike Sullivan has been exposed as a play caller. There's a reason why. He's only been a play caller in an interim role. This brother cannot call plays. I understand he's working with Matt Canada's terrible playbook here, but man, you got to know that 3rd and 2 with 5 seconds left, and the run game is the best part of your offense. You got to get the ball to your best offensive player, Jaylen Warren, right now, and he didn't do that. So Mike Sullivan does absolutely deserve some of the blame for these last 2 weeks. All right, another thing that pisses me off, and now we're getting to more of the general stuff, but it did happen last night too. It's that Mike Tomlin and this Steelers team waste timeouts in the second half of football games, and it pisses me the fuck off, man. Like, seriously, like, you need those timeouts, especially if you're losing, and the Steelers wasted not one, but two of them in that football game. Mitch Trubisky couldn't get the offense going, and by the time he broke the huddle, there was 3 seconds left on the play clock. That's unacceptable. You got to get the play going. Then there's another one where Tomlin calls a timeout before a fourth down. Those timeouts are precious, especially when you're losing a football game in the second half. And Mike Tomlin this year, there's just been too many times where they have wasted these timeouts in these football games. And it's absolutely unacceptable. And like I said, I've been a Mike Tomlin defender. But this is something that Tomlin and the Steelers coaching staff need to fix here if Mike Tomlin wants to be a Super Bowl winning head coach once again here in Pittsburgh. Now, some two very big things that pisses me off specifically about the Steelers offense. And the first thing here is that they're wasting George Pickens' talent. All right, before the season, Ryan Clark, former Steeler, said that George Pickens was more physically talented than Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in this game right now. And, I mean, there's definitely an argument for that. George is 6'3", 200 pounds with a huge wingspan, big hands, has great body control, is one of the best 50-50 ball receivers in the league. And for some damn reason, this offense doesn't want to use him as a deep threat. I mean, what the hell are we thinking here, guys? Like, it seems like most of the time that Pickens is getting the ball, it's like a screen or a short pass, right? It's not down the field where he's at his best one-on-one. I mean, every time this motherfucker is one-on-one with a corner, you should be throwing it up to him deep. That's the way it should be. He should have an automatic hot route call where if the safety is shading and he's got one-on-one coverage, you say, George, go run in a straight line and I'm throwing you the football. But no, this Steelers offense can't even figure that out. And honestly, with the way George Pickens is behaving right now, with all the bad body language and the lack of effort as a run blocker, I don't blame George for that. All right, if I was George Pickens and I knew I was an all-world caliber talent and I knew this offense and this team refused to use my talent in the proper way, and I only had 19 yards on 5 catches in a crucial game, I'd be pissed off too. And you look at the numbers this season in 13 games, just 49 catches for George. It should be at least 75 for him at this point, in my opinion. He only has 3 touchdowns. This guy should be putting up close to 15 touchdowns in a year. He should be getting 1 touchdown a game. That should be what he should be getting close to. This guy is a top 10 level talent in this league, and the Pittsburgh Steelers offense has been wasting him all season long. Finally here, Jaylen Warren, the most impactful Steelers offensive player this year, isn't even a bona fide starter. That is absolutely unacceptable, especially with the way the offense has struggled. If you find a player that is actually making a big impact for you, play him more. Why do I have to explain this? I don't understand it. Right now, his points above replacement is 22.6. That is the highest of any skill position player on the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's higher than George Pickens, that's higher than Deontay Johnson, and that is way higher than Najee Harris. All right, Najee, he's got more touches. All right, over 40 more touches than Jaylen this year. Okay, he's had more touches in just about every single game. His points above replacement is 1.9. Najee Harris has been worth 2 points to the Steelers offense this season, and Jaylen Warren is getting close to 23. And seriously, you're not elevating this guy in the depth chart? I mean, I don't care where they were drafted. I want the best players to get the ball more often, period. And the Steelers just refuse to do that, and that's a joke because we have the most valuable offensive player on this team sitting on the sidelines for a majority of the snaps. That's unacceptable. Okay, Jaylen Warren is the main engine for this offense, and he's not even on the field half the time. I mean, how are we supposed to have success with that? And that's not to say that Najee doesn't have a role in this offense. He does. He should. But it should be the other way around. Jaylen should be the number one, in my opinion. He's more dynamic. He makes bigger plays. He's more explosive. All these different things. He should be getting more of the workload. Period. Plain and simply, book it. And it's just a joke that we don't do that, guys. Now, do you agree with me? Let me know down there in the comment section. Should Jaylen Warren be featured more in this offense? Give me a yes or give me a no. I want to hear from you guys. How do you feel about Jaylen Warren's workload so far this season? That'll be it for me today, guys. Thanks for bearing with me here as I aired out some of my grievances with this about this football team with you guys. I do believe, I have to believe, that brighter days are on the horizon here in Steelers Nation. But there's no doubt about it. It's a dark day here here among Steelers fans, and it's okay to be upset. It means that you care, guys. So make sure you go ahead and click that subscribe button. Join our family. We love you. We care about you, and we'll see you next video.